want any of that stuff going on tonight. And he just looked me right in the eye and he said, I do what I have to do to win.
When we walk into the arena, first thing I noticed was I didn't notice police officers. I didn't see NYPD.
The crowd was much more frenzied than I expected for a fight most people in boxing had very little expectations of.
Boxing has always been an ethnic-oriented sport. There had been no Polish serious heavyweight in the memory of man, and here he was, and his supporters stood and roared.
Brownsville people had started problem with the white people from Poland. The people from Brownsville didn't like the red and white flags being flown in their faces.
Almost half of the stadium were Polak, and they had flags, and they were ready to fight before the fight started.
People don't need to wear jerseys when one fighter is white and Polish and the other fighter is black and from Brownsville.
With that energy in there, it's like a bomb just waiting to go off.
From the start, it was clear that Golota had the size and the skill to compete with Bowe.
Crowd lights up as Golota lands a combo. Bowe's wobbled.
This is the first guy I ever fought that could hit me with a jab at will. It surprised me and it threw me off.
Just about everyone in press row was expecting Bowe to go through the guy pretty easily. And all of a sudden, I remember Golota out-jabbing him, really out-jabbing him.
And Bowe may be surprised, Jim, that a guy is out-jabbing him.
I remember, as the rounds went on, turning to a writer next to me and saying, this guy looks like Jack Dempsey.
The volatile Garden crowd was stunned by Golota's success against Bowe. But it was the Pole's inability to control his punches that turned the situation explosive.
First, there was a shock that Golota was so clearly superior to Bowe. Then there's this shock that he's hitting him low. And he keeps hitting him low. What the hell's going on here?
Next time it's a point. Last warning. Wayne Kelly stops and warns him. No point deducted so far. And Wayne Kelly is going to have to give Bowe a timeout. There's a point deducted from each of the three scorecards. 1 point. This was a bad low blow foul. You got 5 minutes.
But when he came to the corner, I said, look, we got this fight won. Do not hit him in the body anymore.
Keep look. You're going to lose another point. And now another low blow. 1 point. And Golota has lost a second point. And Harold, what comes next?
Jim, the thing that comes next, without question, is a disqualification. I mean, I don't know how much of this Wayne Kelly's going to put up with.
It just seemed unfathomable that he was going to give away this easy victory, but you had to observe the inevitability that it was probably going to happen.
I looked him right in the eyes and I said, Andrew, if you hit him low one more time, it's over. Do you understand that? And he said, yes, I do. Walked out there, hit him low.
That was another low blow. Down goes Bowe, and that's it.
That's it. Great.
It's a disqualification.
It's time for someone to understand that you're going to have to keep the rules in this business.
And now there's a fight in the ring that's been started by some of Bowe's handlers who went after Lou Duva, and somebody's going to get hurt in there.
I remember a guy from Bowe's camp jumping into the mix and started to tomahawk Golota.
I wasn't going in there to hit Golota until I felt like I was assaulted.
And there are more people trying to go in. And
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. They'll stop it. Don't get back. Go back where you'll see the tongue. Get on back.
My microphone got knocked off my head.
Don't do it, son. Don't do
There's
that.
There's danger all over the place here. This is a very desperate situation. Lou Duva's in trouble. Lou Duva's in trouble on the ring mat.
When he was on the ground, he was getting kicked. He was getting punched. 70-year-old man, he was helpless.
First thing I thought is, oh my God, Lou's died in there, right in the middle of all this craziness in the ring. But he clearly wasn't conscious.
Duva's being taken out on a gurney right now, and we hope that they can get it through the crowd.
And they had about 4 or 5 guys carrying it, and they were turning me over. I said, for Christmas' sake, it's safer to go back in the ring and fight. You guys are killing me over here, you know?
4 minutes after Golota was attacked, Duva was taken to the hospital for observation. The violence in the garden was spreading.
George Foreman trying to be the peacemaker. What are you doing? What are you doing, guys? What are you going to accomplish in there?
I don't know if it was racial, but it felt sort of tribal. It felt like what I imagine a soccer riot could be like.
People were getting hit over the head with chairs. People were getting stomped on.
It's flaring up again now behind us. Another riot. Guys jumping over chairs.
Riots and fights are breaking out at ringside.
At that point, I realized, well, if I stay here, I'm not going to be able to report much longer because this whole setup is bound to come apart. And I just dumped off my headset and ran up one section in Madison Square Garden to deliver a little bit broader perspective on what was going on.
And I've never been involved in a more personally terrifying situation than that one. This ring has been stormed by thugs and hooligans. Obviously, emotions were flowing high on both sides.
You expect that in a matter of a minute or two, the powers that be are going to get it organized and cleared up. Well, there were no powers that be, were there?
It was the desire of Madison Square Garden to provide their own security. And of course, since it's a private arena, unless you're invited in, you can't be there.
In the beginning, there was no security at all. There was a couple of guys in their 60s trying to stop guys in their 20s.
I was actually at home. I was watching TV, and a flash came across the TV that there was a riot going on in Madison Square Garden. So I called my security detail, and I responded.
Some 15 minutes after Golota was attacked, Safer's security force finally arrived.
It was worse than I thought it would be, and my biggest concern was that we had not been notified in a timely manner.
Order was restored some 23 minutes after the fight ended.
Ross Greenberg, producing from the truck, said to me, okay, I think we've covered this. Offer whatever personal comment you want to make, and then take us off the air. Something about that phrase just triggered the recognition. By the way, I've got a teenage daughter in here somewhere. I'm going to go find her. That became the personal comment.
Situation. Myself, I got a 16-year-old daughter in here somewhere, and I'm looking to be sure that she's safe.
This morning, the New York police summoned Bowe's manager to this precinct headquarters a block from the garden. He was ordered to review the videotapes and identify anybody from Bowe's camp involved in the fighting.
I remember just being so personally angry with Golota that, I went into the ring and screamed at him. 10 seconds later, the ring was full. Now, history has it that I started a riot.
And now the number of arrests are up to 10. The police are reviewing the videotapes with boxing officials and will make further arrests based on an analysis of the videotapes.
In all, 22 people were injured and 14 arrests were made, including Jason Harris, a member of the Bowe security staff. Harris, it turned out, had a record of violence, including the Fan Man incident, when his weapon of choice had been a walkie-talkie. He was given a 5-year suspended sentence.
Oh, I paid my dues. I was in the middle of being investigated for a police department. When I got back, my investigator called me and said, Jason, sorry.
The turmoil overshadowed the fact that despite the victory, Bowe had been battered. A rematch would be big.